Greetings. In this video, we are going to present to you the XpertUS Decision Tree app. Once you complete the installation, you should see two files here, the master file and a license file. Double-click on the master file, not on the license file. If you do not have your macros enabled, you will see this message on your screen. Right? This is where macros need to be enabled. And sometimes when you select a node and you right-click, you will get this type of menu as opposed to the specific node menu. Then you know your macros have not been enabled. For this instance, you can say enable content here. However, the correct way to do it is to go to File, Options, Trust Center Settings, Macro Settings, and then select Enable Macros and also the Trust Center. And then say OK. Now you need to relaunch the file. Simply close it and don't save the file. Now launch it again, and this time the Enable Macro option will have disappeared. First, we will discuss the basic functionalities of the decision tree model using an existing model, and later we will show you how to build a model from scratch. Here we have a simple model of a person trying to decide between buying and renting a facility. You will see there are nodes here, and they have of three colors, and the legend here says the blue nodes are decision nodes. As you learned before, at a decision node, you decide, you have control. The green represents probability nodes where you have no control, but there is a probability of an event happening. And of course, terminal nodes are the end of your model, and all paths must end up in terminal nodes. These labels define the paths. Additionally, you have probabilities. The orange probability is tied to this scroll bar, and the plum colored probability is tied to this scroll bar. And when you move the percentages, you can see them changing. Each combination must add up to 1, so as you can see, it automatically changes. It's 50-50 down here, right? And if you want to move in small increments, you simply click on these arrows. But if you want to move in steps of 10, you just click anywhere in the middle of the scroll bar. Also note that you have three tabs: the tree, the D zone, and the calculation tabs. We will explain the D zone in a later module. I want to draw your attention to the Calc page. The Calc page is a blank sheet that is provided to you for you to do your calculations. Sometimes your model might have some complicated numbers, unit prices, profit per year, etc. So to do that, you need to have a separate sheet, and this is where you do all your calculations. Later on, we will demonstrate how this Calc page can be used. So let's get back to the tree. Alongside these nodes, there is a value. This is the expected value. And the decision is driven by these expected values. You should not have access to these at all. So as far as you are concerned, you should only modify the labels, the probability values, and the terminal values. That's all you are required to do. And we will now build a decision tree from scratch. Let's select a node here, any node, right click, and you will see the nodes menu. The nodes menu allows you to change nodes and add nodes and delete nodes and redraw, etc. So let's look at this segment only. Here we have a probability node, so we can either convert it to a decision node, a terminal node, or delete this node. So let's convert this to a decision node. When you do that, you'll find this changes color to blue, and these numbers will disappear. Why? because a decision node should not have probabilities. There you are. Right. Let's get back to where we were. Back to the nodes menu. If I wish to add another leg down here, we click add a branch leading to a node. When I click OK, it will add a third leg to this. There you are. Here's the third leg. And there's a probability value attached to it as well. So we need to put a value here. So I have to change this and change the value. Let's say we want this particular node to be attached to this node, not to this node. What we can do is select this node and say reassign predecessor. I'll select OK. And then it's asking me where do you want to attach it to? And I'll say over here. And when I say OK, you'll find that this one is moved way down here to the bottom. Let's see. There you are. So we have the third node moved down here. I'd like to make another important point. With so many probabilities in our model, it is easy for errors to creep in where the probabilities do not add up to 1. Here, for example, we have 0.3 and 0.7. We can check our model for errors by picking any node and saying redraw and check for errors. When you say OK, it runs a check, and if there's an error, it will give a message. Right now, we have no errors. So let's change this to 0.6, which means this doesn't add up to 1. When we redraw and check for errors, it will say you have an error. Now let's create a brand new model. Select a node, doesn't matter which one, and say erase this and build a new decision tree. Say OK. Wants to certify that. And it says what you want your first node to be. Always we use a decision node, but you can have a probability node if you wish to. And when you do that, what you see is your basic model. One decision node, and a decision node that must have at least 2 paths. And it's got branches as well. So let's say I want to rent a house. Rent or buy. So I put my labels. Now if I go to rent it, there may be some uncertainties. There's a chance that family might allow me to rent, or there's a chance that family might not allow to rent. So let's say there's a probability node, and I don't know what will happen. So here we'll say family, and this will say external. We'll try to buy, and let's make this a probability node as well. Probability is there's a bargain, no bargain. And I will show you how to incorporate probabilities. Select the location and now hit equal and select param1. When you link that, the next one automatically becomes 0.6 so that the total is 1. Over here we're going to call it param2. And guess what? The other one is already done. Let's put some terminal values. Does not really matter what I put, but I will put things like 5, 6 and here. Under these probability scenarios, you should buy. If I change the probability here, the decision reversed again. So depending on the probabilities, the decision will change. We will discuss the implications of this at a later. For example, if I want to change it here, I can make this a decision node. I can make this another probability node. So we now have decision nodes, probability values. As you can see with every probability. Now here we can control it manually if we want to. So I can say 0.35 and equals 1 minus that. So when I change this to 0.4, the other one changes to 0.6. The possibilities are endless and you can keep building. So this is all for this video. We have seen the functionalities. Later on, we will be building more models.